Alright, good evening everybody. Jared Napolitano here. I'm the marketing advocate for the Star Wars CCG Players Committee. I'm doing another few game replay streams for the 2022 Retro League. This is a league done on GEMP, aka play.starwarsccg.org. Several competitive players who like to play in the old school formats from the Decipher era, getting together, doing Swiss style tournaments, 6 games apiece. This is event 4. I've done a few others of these, so check them out on the Players Committee's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/c/Star Wars CCG. So I have a few replays here. I have one from Game 4 out of 6 from Ryan Jellison, who provided it to me. And then I have 2 from Game 5, which are tables 1 and 2, one of which involved myself. So we'll do the replays, we'll go through, we'll do the sticker book program token, which I'll put some information on that. With those familiar with it, more or less you watch streams that the Players Committee does, shoot a quick email just saying basically, hey, I watched this, here's the token card that you mentioned, and then you receive these really cool packs that one of our volunteers, Kevin Yop, has been preparing, and you can get some cool foils and some small stickers that can then go into a sticker book that's like a collectible item, which is pretty neat. So we'll jump into the games. Right here we just had this a live game actually from the Retro League, Game 5. Just some quick background. We usually try to hold off, I think we've always held off on doing these streams until Games 5 and 6 because you stream someone's Game 1, they're playing a certain deck, more knowledge, people know, oh, that person's playing that deck, okay, now I'm playing that person in Game 3. I know what they're going to play, I can anticipate it. So we try to avoid that, whereas once you get to Game 5, once that game's complete, you're not going to play any more games with that side of the force for the rest of the tournament, and then obviously the same goes for Game 6. So again, JNAP here, we're going to do stream of some Retro League games. All right, so this was I think it's table 2, so I think there was, again, maybe a 2-1 and a 3-0 player, maybe even 2 3-0s actually, against SAC 898 Sacramento. This is Ryan Jellison, one of my teammates on Team Moneyball, versus tennymf Matthew Tennyson. So Ryan is light side. He's going with Throne Room. Go through here. I mean, I think these replays are usually good for new and returning players, just to kind of see how decks work, how they function, what key cards are included. I try to go through some gameplay angles, just those might be helpful to players just getting started, but I'm by no means an expert. We have here start from Matt, or Tenny, we'll probably refer to him throughout the stream. He's got a That Thing's Operational start, which is the starting interrupt operationals plan from Death Star 2, which just facilitates basically building the Death Star. And then Ryan's just playing a pretty, actually I shouldn't say standard, it's a mains and toys to some extent, but of course Throne Room from Yavin 4 allows light side to go first, just counter the usual. He's got a Twix, a 2-0 Yavin Foresight, and he immediately plays Recoil and Fear, and this allows him to basically wash out his hand, and it does the same for the opponent, who started with some key cards in his hand, and now they're potentially gone. It's a chance you get them back, but that can really mess up your opponent, who has tutored certain cards, and it can cause some issues, especially if you like recoil out like a Gick. But so Ryan is like a fresh hand here. He's got another recoil, got a couple main characters here with Luke and Obi and Leia. He's got a spy, and another Twix sight. So Tenny just draws up to 14 on his first turn. He's probably trying to repair, unfortunately, that setback that he had with the cards getting taken out. Let me just double check here, make sure that this screen's visible. Looks like cut off a little at the bottom. Let me just make sure. I had one instance where this happened, and I think like half the board, like the board was not in good shape. So give me 1 second. I just want to make sure everyone can see everything on the game as well as on the stream. So that's actually make it a little smaller. There we go. That should be better. Make sure the scroll's going. All right. Sorry about that. This should now have the entire board, nothing cut off on the top or the bottom. Alright, so let's keep moving here. So these replays are neat in case you're not familiar, that you can view your old games. They go quicker than if you were just narrating a live game, because obviously players are thinking out their moves. There's just more time involved. But yeah, these are good for reviewing yourself or critiquing others, or doing just streams like this just to build awareness for the game. All right, so Ryan draws a bunch. He's got a couple more 2-0 locations that he can build his activation up. He's got 2 recoil and fears in his hand, which likely he's going to play one of them. It's an interesting card because it's in the open environment or standard environment, current environment, whatever phrase you want to use. There's a shield that protects against this removal of cards from your hand by your opponent, including the starting effect, which doesn't allow it to happen on the first turn, just to try to keep decks a little more stable, for lack of a better word. And out come a couple Twix, and here comes a Spy, Tycho, Selchu, to the bunker, and this is bad because Moff Gerard is very critical towards the Dark's plan here of building the Death Star, because he can pull into hand different sectors, and then eventually get the sectors out, get the Death Star out, deploy that thing's operational, which is an epic event, start causing damage, and that's like the win condition. So Ryan initiates battle here with Obi-Wan with lightsaber. Moff Gerard's probably going to get a hit and his forfeit reduced to 0. Tenny tries to play projective telepathy just to make Light use 2 more force to initiate the battle. So Ryan has that force, but he senses it anyway. If for no other reason, maybe there's no like do or do not, or there's no try, or oppressive enforcement out to protect against sense alter. So he figures might well just get rid of a card and senses a used interrupt. So he swings and misses at Moff Gerard. So that's pretty good for Tenny, that it looks like there's not going to be a ton of overflow here. He draws a 4 for Battle Destiny. So that'll be 11. Moff Gerard's forfeit is 6, so he'll have to lose 2 extra on top of Moff Gerard. But more importantly, that really just sets back his entire game plan here. I could speed up this replay here. So Ryan's going to draw some more cards. All the way up. Light or Dark Side's only activating 5 force, so he can't really do much here. Ryan made a comment, in our team chat, like this is basically the approach to beat that thing's operational in this format. You basically have a Spy, you get rid of Moff Gerard, who, I guess more importantly, it really was the recoil and fear, because that really set back everything. He doesn't have activation. You can actually, Moff Gerard's text, if you're wondering, how do I make sure this doesn't happen to me? I guess this is a learning point, not to pick on Tenny here, but if he's prevents spies from deploying the same Death Star 2 site. So if you have Imperial Rest Order, you deploy the Death Star 2 docking bay, you put him there, the opponent can't deploy spies there, and there's no real loopholes around that in this format. Eventually Jar Jar Binks can kind of get around that because he's a super strong character, but or trying to think of other things that might be able to do it, but that's one of the big things. It's getting the Spy there, or ways to protect Moff Gerard. So Ryan's going to play Masterful Move to pull, and I'm sorry, not him. Tenny pulls Gick. So now he's got the Gick. He put a couple ties at the Death Star 2 system, just to, I guess, make sure that Ryan doesn't put a ship there and start draining for 5, because this says force drain +3 unless that thing's operational on table. So it's a huge liability until the thing's operational. Okay, the Death Star 2 is quote-unquote built, all 3 sectors are out on the table, and then Ryan's going to do recoil again, because he got a couple cards back that he shuffled in, which of course is possible. And then Tenny's going to try to pull up a ship, but Ryan has another sense, and this is, again, just Ryan's just putting a use card back in his deck, causing Tenny to lose a force. Might not be the best way to use sense, but at the same time, there's not much opportunity cost for Ryan there to use it, especially with Tenny kind of having an uphill climb here, since his activation set back, his primary plan is set back, and he's kind of facing an uphill climb here after a tough start. So I'll speed this up. So he gets another sector out, so that's good for Tenny, and then he just draws, Maybe found a couple things he wanted. Left 3. War's not making one great, so more force choke. This requires either player to initiate one extra force, basically, to initiate a force drain or a battle. So, not that Tenny doesn't have any force drains queued up yet, but we have another 2-0 location come out. So Ryan has tons of force here, 17 force to activate. Putting his little drain of 1 through. I don't even know if he's paying for it though, because he has to pay 3 because of battle plan. And Tenny's just going to draw up a ton, looking for key cards at the 21. Ryan grabs the Master of Moves to not let that cycle. Grimtosh would be really bad here. He's got another Recoil and Fear too, so, and he plays it. So he changed up the decks again. Poor Tenny's got to kind of exchange out his 19-card hand. Probably got, I guess the math might be like 50% of the cards back. Ryan goes to alter Senior Fleet Systems to try to turn off the retrieval, but he actually draws a 6 and misses. And alter still goes to the use pile. Alright, so plays Rebel Leadership to grab Admiral Akbar. Ryan's got a sneaky amount of space in here. He got Knee and Numb, Admiral Akbar. We saw Home 1. We have Gold Squadron 1. And Ryan's going to draw a bunch to just develop everything he needs to develop the game plan he needs to close this game out. Now comes Dreaded Imperial Starfleet, which can cancel force drains. And he's going to put Mara Jade and Lightsaber. Dr. Vazen. This is not ideal because Ryan's deck is built to just react and attack, and he's got all these characters in his hand. So he comes down with Han, Chewie, and Leia, and 3PO. And Chewie adds a Battle Destiny with C-3PO. Leia adds with Han, Han adds with Chewie, so there's 4 Battle Destinies queued up here. And Dr. Vazen was just shot, and his forfeit was reduced to 0, but Tenny does shoot, hit, and operate on Chewie. So he's gone at 6 power in Battle Destiny. Ryan draws a 6 and a 4 for his Battle Destiny. Tenny draws a 4, so he's going to owe a bunch of overflow, but he does have he had the Gek. I'm not sure if he got it back. Looks like no, so that was shuffled back in the reserve deck with Recoil and Fear. And now Tenny goes a little wide in space, taking up 2 I shouldn't say too wide. Just get Zuckuss out, get the tie out to retrieve a little bit, and Ryan's going to set up here with the Home 1, Major Hashin, who's a pretty good card. We got General Calrissian. Hashin stops lateral damage, adds 1 to heart speed and armor, and he deploys for 0 because he's 2/-2 to Star Cruiser. So Knee and Numb, who don't see him used very often, and Tenny just concedes here is not looking good. That Ryan's just gonna be able to keep reacting, and those Recoil and Fears were pretty brutal. So that was game 4. That moved Ryan to 4-0. And I think Tenny went to either 3-1 or 2-2. He's 3-2 now, so I'm not sure if he won or what he was coming into this, but I know he played his 5th game, so that's where I wanted to make sure I confirmed with his Game 5 opponent, for which he is dark side in Game 5, that they already played their game, so I'm not letting out any secrets here. All right, so that was the first game we're going to look at. Second game, this was me versus Teemo. Dillen played this game this morning. So this is interesting. I think it's not the quickest game, but I think some of the mindset might be kind of interesting to people. So I play a lot of games, have played a lot of games versus Teemo, or I think it's a little bit of rivals to an extent. But Teemo came back to the game, I think 2019. He plays all different formats. He plays very often, very, very good players, and he's made some really impressive growth over the last couple of years. But I think I saw him, or it wouldn't surprise me if he knew that I played Huntdown in my first 2 dark games in this event. So I was like, oh, he might play like Hidden Base, or likely to play Hidden Base was my bet. And I didn't want him to just play a bunch of Transmission Terminated, cancel my force drains, cancel Visage, get some big space drains in, maybe some space weapons to take care of me if I try to go to space. So and I also thought maybe some other types of decks in this format, this Premiere to Jabba's Palace Seal deck, which should have made that clear too. So this includes stuff like No Escape and Unitas. So Routes of Operations is a lot weaker than it was in Premiere to Death Star 2 format. So I wanted to go with My Kind of Scum. and just because I think it's pretty good against like hidden base, can't really cancel the 4 strains because of hut influence, which we'll see. It's got a lot of retrieval, and there's some ways that it can do decently against mains. And yeah, so that was my approach. So he flips over Throne Room, which I'm a little worried about, but I'm playing Abyssins as I just showed before that Mayo is my rep. I played this in the Premiere Reflections 2 throwback event at Worlds last year, so about 10 months ago. As I pick my starting location, so there's no try, just against Sense Alter, no bargain. Makes Rebels deploy +2 as long as I don't have like Marjade or any other Imperials. And Power the Hut gets out some Sail Barge, which gets out the passenger deck, which is activation, gets out Hut Influence, which is a key card. And can also get out characters like Ethan Mon and Boelo. So, but I took the My Kind of Scum that I played at the Premiere Reflections 2. I had to take out like 4 or 5 cards that were in Reflections 2 that obviously didn't come out as of this time capsule format, like the combo There's No Try, Oppressive Enforcement, the combo Abyssin Ornament and Wounded Wookiee, Dr. Vaz and Ponda Baba, Prince Shizor. I always say Shizor. I know it's Shizor, but I always say Shizor on streams, of course. So those cards came out and made some changes. I think maybe a couple other tweaks too from my deck, but and that actually gives me a quick opportunity to plug the 5th and final event in the Retro League is Premiere Reflections 2. It's going to start about middle of September. Signups are open through September 6th. If you are just coming across this format, this league for the first time, just go to forum.starwarsccg.org, do a Control F, go to the Retro League. It's down in the league section, and there's sign up open. It tells you how to do it. Go through all the steps, and you can still sign up even if you didn't do any other of the events in the league. You can still sign up for this one. And the cool thing about Event 5 is there's public deck list available, like I was describing from World's Throwback event last year. So you can just go to StarWarsCCG.org, go to the tournament deck list. It's pretty easy to find on the ribbons on the top, and you just find the 2021 Throwback event. So there's we had I think 14 players, and maybe 15, 2 decks each, one for light, one for dark. So there's some stuff just for people to crowdsource from. So, all right, so I got the plugs in there. All right, so Teemo gets his first turn. He gets Gunite out. A lot of my characters, literally none of the characters in my hand are impacted by Gunita right now. He gets Major Hashin out to the docking bay to get +2 activation because of staging areas, because he controls the docking bay. I'm very happy that I open-handed Scum, which will make my guys and gals cheaper to deploy if they're aliens by 1. Get out lower passages, which I was palace. I think one of the risks here with Throne Room is that if he had basically any character, I shouldn't say that. If he had like a Melos, he could deploy a character to Jabba's palace, and then that would shut off my game text and make it really hard for me to start getting activation out. I forgot to draw. I just quick pass, so Teemo graciously let me revert. So I drew some cards. I was digging for my audience chamber because I knew it wasn't in there, and the dungeons because that was the only site in there. Ideally, I'd get audience chamber and maybe Jabba out. And now I'm taking a risk here because I drew up to 14. This format, pretty much everyone's playing Grimtosh on Monarch, so I'm just like kind of crossing my fingers that he doesn't play Monarch. Used or lost. Lost would get 1, 2, 3 Abyssins. I got to verify there, and I see the Grimtosh is in the reserve. There's no way to pull it in this format. Nowadays there is an open. You can pull Dejarks with Escape Pod combo, or Escape Pod V. Escape Pod combo is Escape Pod and We're Doomed, which is going to be important because, for these formats, there was Masterful Move, which allowed Dark to pull Gick as a Destiny 6 used interrupt. Lightside didn't have that, so Hujix wasn't as popular. I think a lot of the players who played a lot and very good at this time period might agree with that, because otherwise you have this floating 1, and Lightside has some more tricks to kind of do beatdowns. I shouldn't say more. They have interesting tricks like Frozen Assets, Beggar. Both sides have Draw Their Fire, First Strike. Dark Side's always had Dr. Vazin, who's been very strong character. But the where was I going with this? About Lightside's tricks. I don't know. It'll come back to me. But all right. So I just got to verify. I want to know make sure that Jabba from Special Edition is in my reserve. He is. So I deploy him. So he's going to be +2 because Gunite, but he's also going to make all my aliens to his site -1. Scum is out now. he makes it immune to alter. Not that he's going to alter me with ability 2, but the other key thing with this doesn't really kick on until you have one character out already. So while all your ability on the table is provided by aliens, so if I were to deploy it and then Jabba would not get a deploy minus because there's no ability out on the table. Alright, so I get Bib there. Abyssins for free because it's normally deploy 2, but -1 from Jabba because all aliens are deploy -1 to the site, and Scum and Villainy reduces their deploy by 1. So I put out my rep Mayo, who's a leader, and he's going to make these Abyssins power +2 and forfeit +1 each, while Mayo at the audience chamber. Plus Mayo is pretty sweet because if he's lost, I just put him in my use pile. Lost or forfeited as a result of the battle. So I guess if he's lost in the middle of the battle, he still can go, it seems like. You just put him on your use pile, and you just keep circling around, and you can use him with My Kind of Scum, which is brand new to this format. Again, this is Premiere-JPSD sealed deck. So in our Time Warp, this is like a brand new card to simulate. All right, so Teemo's getting a lot of locations out. 2 more Twixes. I think he open-handed 3 more Twixes, excuse me. I think he open-handed 2 of the docking bays. So I think I just saw, that was quick, but I think Grimtosh was still in there, which is a good thing. And if it isn't, that's okay because my hand is now safe. I don't have any doubles, and I don't have more than 12 cards. So Teemo gets Battle Plan out using the signal. Make me spend 3 force to get this force drain of 1 in. And now he gets Oromarco out, who's deployed +2. He costs 7 force because no bargain is active down here. While no Imperials at Jabba's Palace site, at all such sites, rebels are deployed +2. So Teemo's going there, but I already have all my sites out, so that's... He's just threatening a drain of 2. He's not really setting me back in terms of getting my activation out, which isn't maxed out quite yet, which is what I'm going to do next turn. Deploy the Sail Barge, which, when deployed, you may immediately deploy Passenger Deck from your reserve deck and reshuffle. So that's what I'm going to do this turn. I think I'm just going to pay the 3, because again, I don't want to... I know there's a Grimtosh floating around now, and it's possibly has been in his hand. At least I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if that was in there. Verify. I went kind of quickly. He tosses his starship, and there's not really going to be space here. So I deploy Hut Influence. Not... Ethan Mon would have been, deploy 4, because +2 for Gunite. But definitely want to get some more activation here. I don't have a lot of fighting cards in my hand here. I got just 1 Abyss and I could gale it out to increase the drain. But I definitely want to make sure I got the passenger deck out. Hut Influence is... It's a key card against hidden base, because they can't cancel your force drains, but also they can't play Surprise Assault. And I got just I got 17 power, 1, 2, 3, 4. You never know when he's got Surprise Assault, something like that. His Destiny in the deck was pretty decent, even for this era, I think. So yeah, opponent may not cancel or modify your force drains at each Tatooine Battleground site where you have 2 aliens with different card titles. So just wanted to preempt any shenanigans or control. He can't cancel my force drain. I draw another Galed and save a force, and at the very least kind of bluff a barrier in case he wants to try to attack. He plays Tunnel Vision, so I'm kind of curious what he's going to be doing here. What's the key card that he wants to find? Deploys Honor the Jedi. I don't know why. It's probably a wasted card in this matchup, just because I'm not going to be draining at non-battlegrounds, and it's not like I have direct damage going on right now at all. He gets another Twix out, which honestly he probably would have been better off just tossing this. He's basically never going to be even if he wants to use 21 force, he might not have all that in his reserve, and then still have force to battle and draw Destiny and stuff like that. So I probably would have just held the Yoda side if I was him and tossed it to a force drain. So he comes in here with Han and Luke against my 6 aliens. Definitely I didn't have a barrier. He's gonna get 2 Battle Destiny here. He's gonna shoot Galed. I think I was hoping that he didn't shoot. I definitely didn't want Jabba to die. But if he shot Mayo, that would have been kind of unfortunate, because then he would have been 0, even though I could put him on my use pile after I lose him. So he shoots and hits. He draws a 1 for Battle Destiny, and then a 5. So it's 6, and I'm really happy with that. So shout out to Eric Lonquist, who came on Holo Theater a few weeks ago with Dan Tartaglione and myself. Holo Theater is pretty much every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tune into that. twitch.tv/SWCCGPC. That's the PC's official Twitch. Definitely follow that. Always good stuff going on Wednesday nights. But Eric Longquist, who's like a professional gamer commentator, and also loves Star Wars CCG. It's a really awesome conversation I had with him several weeks ago. But he loves Abyssins. He said that was his bread and butter back in the day. So this is pretty cool with Mayo at the audience chamber. So they are power 4, forfeit 3, but also job adds to the forfeit of all your 9 unique aliens. So now they're forfeit 5 each. And no bargain, while no Imperials at all such sites, your 9 unique aliens are each forfeit +1. So these Abyssins are power 4, forfeit 6. And if I lose them and save force, enough force, I could spend 2 force and just put them in my use pile. But it's also not the worst thing to lose them, because then I can retrieve them if and when I flip with Fearless and Inventive during my control phase. Once during each of your control phases, you may retrieve a non-unique alien of your rep species. So my rep is Mayo. They're all Abyssins. This battle is going to go down, and that long-winded explanation was my way of saying I'm just going to lose 1 Abyssin here. Even though Galen has no forfeit, I only drew a 1, but that's okay as long as I make sure he loses one of these 2 characters. He's got to lose either Han or Luke, because Han is not immune. Luke is immune. Remember, they were deploy +2 each, so Han was 6 and Luke was 10. So very expensive. No bargains, really, really helpful. So I just lose Galen and lose the Abyssin. I don't have the 2 force to regenerate the Abyssin. And then he moves in here, which is pretty good for me to see, because now I come down with another Abyssin, IG-88. Galen's not really like bringing the pain, but he's just another guy. I'm not sure if I hold him back. We'll see. So this is turn 4 of mine. No Mon or Boelo in my reserve. So they're both in my force pile, so I can't, Boelo cancels Battle Destiny at the audience chamber or anywhere with a leader. So I dropped the Abyssin, I dropped IG-88. I'm hoping that I can capture. So I do throw down Galen. But I'm going to retrieve this other Galen with Scum. So even if Galen dies here, that's okay. I'm just trying to set up, hopefully Galen survives, then I have a Drain of 2 set up for my next turn. I retrieve Galen and an Abyssin, fire with IG-88. In the reserve deck, I did see a lot of decent Destinies, a lot of 3s. Figured I'd go for Han. So I capture him. Hey guys, Gunite. Yeah. So this was big. I capture Han. Thought for a minute, do I seize him? Yeah, because I could also just run away and then IG-88 can't be battled because he doesn't have presence, but I can deliver captive here and get 2 force retrieved if and when I feel like that might be helpful. But for a while, I'm just going to leave. My plan was just to leave IG-88, just to, have this fortified audience chamber, keep trying to push through drains of 2, and kind of put him on his back foot. But he draws just a 1, which is bad. Or Marco's only forfeit 4. So unless he has the Hujix, he's going to have to peel 16 cards, which he does not have the Hujix. So pretty happy as I still working on my first cup of coffee this morning and got the win against my good buddy Teemo here. And I think I spend the 2 force to regenerate the Abyssin. Yeah, so he peels a lot of stuff. Home 1, Han, Luke, Melas, another Luke, Barrier, and there's Mon and Boelo, both in the bottom of my force pile. So I'm feeling pretty good here. Drain of 2. I can try to stay on the offensive here. If he tries to get to my audience chamber, I'm just up in a ton of life force, and if I could just push through these drains of 2, I'm pretty confident I could win. He activated everything, so now he's got a little bit of an issue of, even if he does have anything close to, no bargain's just huge in this matchup. So get the drain through, and I think he concedes right around here and just kind of realizes this is going to be a uphill battle. Yeah, just fortifying here. So now he can't deploy any spies, move a spy. Even if you want to try to set up undercover to try to buy him some time, Mon does not allow spies. Like, sometimes you see like R2-D2 and then they put undercover on him, or stuff like that. So all right, so Teemo conceded here. It's a good game. So I moved to 5-0. Bkippel and Ryan Jellison were they were table 2. So there's 4 4-0s, me, Teemo, and then Bkippel, who's hopefully going to be a guest on an upcoming episode of Holo Theater, and also Ryan Jellison, my teammate. So he sent me the game 4 that he did, and then he also sent me game 5. So that's what we're going to do next. So sorry I kind of ruined the suspense here. So Brad wins this, but let's see how. But if you check the standings, you would know that Brad's 5-0. So he and I both played dark, so we can't play. So that means it's not going to be like a win and definitely win the event. If we had 2 5-0 squaring off. But in the wonderful world of Star Wars CCG, there's a light side and a dark side, and everyone's got to play the same amount of games with both sides. So it's going to come down to strength of schedule. So whoever has the better strength of schedule over the course of their 6 games, whoever opponents did better, basically, will win the tiebreak. If we both win or if we both lose our final game 6, there could be a lot of 4-1s who could potentially go to 5-1, and just the way things work out, it's not necessarily going to be Brad or me that are definitely going to win. It could be somebody else. So big shout out here just to Steve Sanders, Leverandin, who's been like the tournament director. I've been supporting him just in my capacities about prize support and getting set up. He's been doing a great job with the league this year. Now he stepped up, volunteered for event 1, 2, 3, 4, and he'll wrap it up with 5. But yeah, big shout out to Steve for doing a good job. But yeah, all right. So Ryan's first action, he's going to play. Where are you looking for me to grab 2? You can do up to 2 protocol droids or communications droids. So he gets our good friend R3PO with the corrected image to work against spies. And this is an interesting choice. We saw this in the other game that Ryan provided. Endor 3PO adds 1 to attrition for each Ewok. I don't think he has any Ewoks in here. If just lost, make it a use pile. That's pretty cool. He's 4'5" to soak up. Same related sites. Immune to battling of eyes. So that's what? Tamtel Street, Princess Leia Organa, Daughter of Skywalker, General Solo, Princess Leia, who can only deploy to Hoth and Cloud City. So I don't know to what extent that's going to come into play. But yeah, so Hunt Down versus Throne Room, the most classic of matchups. Some may say. Brad's doing pretty standard Imperial Restore mobilization points. You cannot hide forever until you make sure your opponent's not playing numbers. And Ryan's just going to draw here, and they both need to lose a card. Ryan, I think he said he messed up and didn't start Insight. Usually, you always want to flex Insight. Your Insight serves you well against Hunt Down. So then you just toss it and upload Honor the Jedi, which is a Death Star 2 effect. And then you basically just deploy it, and you don't lose any force. I mean, unless, don't make the mistake, if you are playing against Hunt Down, if your opponent deploys Vader, flips, they play Alter on your Honor the Jedi if you don't occupy a battleground, and then you're really screwed. I did that against Justin Desai in last year's Retro event, and felt really dumb. He was packing, I think, 2 Alters, and I was playing Prophet, so don't deploy Honor if there's any chance your opponent's playing Alter until you occupy a battleground, because it's conditionally immune to Alter. Alright, so Brad's going to throw out Lieutenant Cabell to the docking bay to get his +2 for mobilization points. Ryan tosses his Recoil and Fear, which is interesting. I guess you just want to top deck something a little more important. Early game against Hunt Down, you just want to make sure you don't lose anything critical, so probably don't want to top deck Honor the Jedi, honestly. There he is, so he naturally draws into it. Both players not activating a ton. Only 8-6. No battlegrounds out yet. And Brad loses Janus Grievous off the top. Draw the Fire comes off the top for Ryan. He's got EPP Luke, EPP Han. He's got a Spy and Tycho to go potentially attack here, but out comes Lord Vader, who is deploy -2 to the Executor, so he's only 6. And then the docking bay transit's free. Brad also has the lightsaber, and he's going to go here to Cloud City, flip, and not lose to Visage this turn. So again, this is table 2, game 5. 2 4-0 players. 2 players who are very good open players, and Jawa players too. And Brad plays all different formats. He plays like all the Jedi a lot. He's had a lot of success. He's actually 10-1 right now in the Jawa Brawl. And if he wins this final game, the way the SOS looks, he's going to be squaring off in all likelihood against Joe Olsen to see who's crowned the Jawa Brawl champion, and that'll take place about a week or so from now. The event wraps up on the 28th. All right, so Ryan puts out Honor the Jedi. He did it before he deployed Obi-Wan, so that's a dangerous play. That's what you got to be careful of. With no escape coming out in this expansion, Jabba's Palace Seal deck really helped Hunt Down because Honor the Jedi goes out in Death Star 2. you play like some Twilight Advisors, just make sure you're able to find it, or even maybe you'll start it. A lot of times they might start it hunt down, even though you lose that function of taking the top card into your hand, but it really sucks when you're playing hunt down and you're losing 2 Visage and your opponent's not. It's your card, and the whole gist is that you're either both losing or only light side's losing. Here you have Clash of Sabers against Vader, and then he's going to pick it up again with Unita. He's going to be able to initiate battle here for free because of Battle Plan, and Lieutenant Cabell's probably going to get beat down. But Brad may have the Gick, and if not, it could be a bunch of overflow here. But yeah, so now he initiates battle for free. He can hold that Clash and use it like defensively. Should Brad have some strong characters to try and fight Obi, or even a character because he's only got 8 force, Ryan could play the Clash and just buy himself some time to reinforce with like Luke or 3PO just to soak up. Forfeit apparently seems to be his primary usage. Or maybe, of course 3PO and R2, I should say, like they always facilitate potentially We're Doomed, which can be really powerful in almost every format, especially if your opponent doesn't have a grabber available. Alright, so he hits Cabell, draws a 2, so that's going to be 5 overflow unless Brad has a Gick. Vader's just hanging out there, clashed. And Moment of Truth, he does not have a Gick, so he loses. Looks like some good cards. IG-88 off the top, Emperor Palpatine off the top, Mara Jade Saber off the top, Bosk and Houndstooth, and D-Lots, Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith. So some decent cards, but usually hunt down in this format. I played at least 4, usually 5 Vaders. I'm just to try to get him out quickly. And Ryan's not going to lose anything to Visage, whereas Brad is. Out comes the Endor Docking Bay. Was that Kashyyyk off the top? Or did he lose that from hand as a system? I think it said from hand. No, from reserve deck. Okay. Alright, out comes Ozzel, Blizzard 2, so that's pretty good for Brad. He has immunity less than 4. Ozzel's forfeit 6, so even if Ryan draws high, he should be safe here. Brad draws a 4 for Battle Destiny, so Obi is definitely going to go to the loss pile. So Brad was able to play around that potential reclash, we'll say. And he draws a 3, so Dark is going to be immune to attrition because Blizzard 2 is immune less than 4. Obi dies, Hunt Down flips, and now Brad is not losing to Visage anymore, and now he's going to spread across the other battleground on the table, the Endor Docking Bay, by spending 1 force to Docking Bay Transit. So now he's threatening a drain at 2 and 1, but he would have to pay for them with Battle Plan, so probably not going to pay 3 to drain 1 at this stage of the game. You never know. Maybe he might just say, hey, I don't have too much else I can do with my life force, but we'll see. So Ryan's just going to go straight to the draw phase here, activate draw. Activation's not super high. He draws into 1 more 2-0 location, loses. What happened there? No drains. There are nothing lost to Visage, right? Yeah, Honor's still going. So you think Brad's probably going to make it a priority to find no escape here. Really, really powerful card. Still in so many decks. Really works. One of those cards like P59 or... I'm trying to think of another example of cards that just go in like almost every deck, basically. Ryan tosses Alter Sense, not too helpful against Hunt Down because of the add 4 on the front side, and you can play it on the 7 side. So I figured he'd lose those rather than losing some other key cards. He's got a couple starships, but there's no battleground systems out. Brad losing Kashyyyk off the top. I'm not sure if Ryan's playing any. Like as a reactive throne room deck that may or may not play might not play any battlegrounds in here. We haven't seen any, right? So Ryan's going to deploy the 2-0 and then just draw again. He draws into Chief Chirpa's Hut, some more activation. But he's just, I guess, soaking up. He had that early beatdown that bought him a little bit of a head start here. So just as Brad's got 34 and Ryan's got 42. So Ryan's up. So I guess he can afford to try to build his hand, get the right cards he needs at the expense of, but wow, he's got 18 cards in his hand. Does not want a Monarch used to get rid of those 3 important 2-0 locations, maybe even 4. Looks like the button here is hiding it, but I think he has 4 sights in his hand. Alright, so during 2, he's going to toss Leia, and, okay, 1 of his 4 sights, so he still has 3. There's no escape. that's big for Brad. So now, not only does he shut off Honor the Jedi, he gets the Battleground system out, and he puts it right out. And out comes Zuckuss, and Marajik. This is going to be forfeit 6, so a little bit of forfeit fodder. Security precautions. Brad's kind of turning the tide here. Or I shouldn't say turning the tide. Oh, yeah, he's definitely turning the tide, because I think Ryan had a little bit of a head start with that 5 overflow on Bkippel and Honor helping him out. So R3PO goes to the lost pile. Ryan's got 15 force to work with here. Out comes Chief Trooper Zut. Out comes, excuse me, Echo War Room. Another Yavin 4 Twix. So now Ryan's activating 17. Tycho's going to the War Room, so that's going to reduce the deploy cost of Home Wen by a lot. This is big for Ryan. Outcomes. We'll have to pause this. So, hold on. So, just if you're not aware, Home One War Room. Say that 5 times fast. While you control with a Rebel, Home One is deploy -5 and power +3. So, that makes it deploy 7. And it's normally 12 and power 12, which is a very nice ratio. Plus, it's got ability 4. With General Lando, that's 3, which gets around Zuckuss's. You need 7 to not get your Battle Destiny reset. Initiates battle here for free, so he's just enough force to get Lando out. Lando is deploy -2 to the Falcon, and he draws a 6 for Battle Destiny, so that is big. 2 pilots, deploy -2 to Endor's. Endor's not out, and it's immune less than 4 when Lando's piloting, so we'll see what Brad draws here. He draws a 6, so Ryan's going to have to lose something, probably, I'm guessing, General Lando. Yep, and Marajik covers 6. Brad, does he peel or does he lose? He peels, wow. Alright, so then Brad peels. See, these are the tough decisions that a lot of times if you're a newer player, you might just, I can't peel 6 force. Let me just lose Zuckuss and 1 more because he's forfeit 5. But sometimes, like, peeling a lot when you're kind of understanding the whole board state, because now that it enables him to preserve battle plan, satisfy battle plan. So now he can get these drains of 2 and 1 through for free. He doesn't have to pay for them. He doesn't make a decision of, do I get damage through or do I try to reestablish board state? And he doesn't really have anywhere to run to, so he's definitely got to have either a pathway to find a Gik or some pilots he can reinforce with. But not even that. Now that Ryan doesn't have ability 7, the battle destiny is going to be 0, and this thing's power, even if he moves Tycho over, he's only ability 2. So now that was a good peel. And like I said, if you're a newer player, you might not realize. And now he's got 4, 5, 6 there. So now he knows he has a 5 and 6 on the bottom of his reserve deck. Those are high destinies. Tycho's only forfeit 4. He's not getting any boost, so it seems pretty obvious that the Falcon's going to be forfeited here. He embarks it. Interesting. I guess then he could have, I guess, technically embarked, right? Then Tycho, and then disembarked and had some more power there, but you'd pick up the 3 power from the Falcon. Maybe he forgot, or maybe there's another reason why he's keeping it on there. All right, so Brad gets his drains through here. The lightsaber adding 1. He activated down, so that bottom card's either 5 or 6 since it's shuffled with the weapon levitation that Brad played at the end of his turn. Out comes the Executor. Oh boy. All right, so he paid the full sticker price, 15 force, initiates battle. Brad kind of has just enough force here to do what he wants. Draws the 6, now he's 22, and Ryan's destiny is going to be reset to 0. It's 0 anyway. Oof. So Tycho and the Falcon would cover 11, and he loses 2 more, which is what he's going to do. So he loses Yoda's Hut to make sure he gets that 0 out of circulation. That's all he's got to do. Just 1 more, right? Now 13. Falcon covers 7. Tycho covers 4. Yeah, so he needs to lose 1 more. He loses Akbar off the top. All right, so now we're through 5.5 turns. Same number of cards in hand. Light has 3 more cards face down, but worse board state. And now this is going to be tricky because, all right, so he's going to flip him back. Yeah, because he couldn't just put Luke and Leia in space because then he could initiate battle because even though some people still forget, while this is on the inside, opponent can initiate battles where they have, or Force Drains of Jedi or Skywalker, and it only flips back if they have Luke or a Jedi out of battleground sight. So you just throw Luke and Leia in space, your opponent would just laugh at you and say, ha, you can't initiate battle. Don't make that mistake. So now Leia's going up there. So now he does have ability greater than 6 to get around Zuckuss. Luke's going to swing at Vader. Now Vader's defense value +2 because Lord Vader's a tank. So Ryan needs to draw 9 total here. He draws a 5, which is a good start, and then a 2, so he misses. And then that's bad. Alright, so but he can now Blaster Deflection. He could Clash here, which is probably what he's going to do. Yes, just so Luke doesn't die, because he has no immunity to attrition. And now Vader's Clash for the second time this game. And it buys Ryan some time. He's just going to draw. Okay, so yeah, just leaves Leia up there. Brian's just going to cycle the 6 Fall of a Legend. So he's going to make sure he has that on top. And he draws some cards. So he's got... Interesting case here, because, right, I know works both ways. If I don't just initiate a battle against Han, you may react by deploying Leia for free. No, it does not work. you can only download Leia. You can't download Han as a react in a battle against Leia. So drain of 1, yeah, not surprising. Ryan's just going to lose off the top. Now Ryan knows that the top card of his reserve deck is a 6. Brad has a 4/5. And Tarkin, another 2 power as a pilot. 4 Lam adds a Battle Destiny of Zuckuss. This is looking bad for Ryan now because Home 1's not going to be immune. It's only immune less than 8. You need Akbar to get to 10. So this thing's definitely going away. And then Ryan's going to lose space and not going to be able to recover with the force he has. He does draw a 6, but yeah, Tarkin is just forfeit fodder here. So Leia and the Home 1 go down. And Ryan's going to cycle a 6 again. All right. And Brad's going to draw a bunch. Visage is going to hit both players here for a force. I think Ryan's at 19 versus they're dead even here, but the board state definitely favors Brad. And then yeah, Vader's still clashed. Alter goes from hand from Brad. Major Hashin. Balanced attack. Alright, so lots of red in the reserve deck. Good destinies for Ryan, threatening to hit Vader, I guess. Brian tosses his recoil. Huh. I wonder... I probably not crazy. He might just think, hey, this isn't really going to help me a lot here. Yeah, Brad just never really had kind of a lot of, cards tutored where if he lost them, he'd really be significantly set back. He's already had 2 different, he peeled 6 and 5 in battle damage, but Cleve's going to win this game. And that's one of the interesting things or neat things that I kind of like about this format, or older formats, is that you have a lot more cards in your deck to start the game. Nowadays, with objectives and starting effects and different cards that go out for the objectives, some decks start with 10 cards on table, which, could be a criticism. It also helps in a lot of ways, and eventually those cards need to get out onto the table anyway. But when you're starting with 55 cards in your deck, and then you draw 8, obviously, versus 50, it's you have a little more leeway to kind of peel here and there, and the games are not longer, but you have more rope, so to speak, to play with. You can overcome kind of early beatdowns. All right, so out comes Lieutenant Blount to cancel Visage. Brad just ran away here, which I didn't comment on, which is probably smart, or is smart, because he doesn't have a lot to gain by sitting here, but if he loses Vader, he has more to lose. So he figures, let me just run away. Because just with the drain in space, light is not doing a lot of damage. So out comes Obi. He's going to hit Vader. This is about to be the end of turn 9 for Ryan here. He's got no cards in hand. Vader's hit. Ryan probably really wants to draw a 4 here. This is bad. Yeah, so this is just a suicide thing. Because there's going to be a lot of overflow here. No Hujix, obviously, because he's got no cards in hand. And this is going to be a peel. Oh, I have you now to add 1. We trample, just a cycle of card with the trample. Very unlikely he's got a 7 in there to kill it. He doesn't want to kill Obi, I'm sure, because he wants to overflow him here. So that's just a cycle of card, I guess. So Ryan draws a 6, which is going to kill Blizz. Oh no, it's not. It's just gonna kill Ozzel. Yeah. So Blizzard 2 is gonna survive here, and let's see how much overflow that Ryan has to deal with. Ooh, 1-1. Wow, that could have gone a lot worse. He still needs to lose 6 force on top of Obi, and he's got like no board state. He just has Luke here, which isn't gonna do much. All right, so there's Ryan's conceding. I guess he really needed Luke or Vader to miss there to have any chance. So that was game 2. So Brad moves to 5-0. Ryan's 4-1. Like Teemo and probably gonna be a handful of other people. We could jump in there. So we're at what, about 52 minutes. All right, let's do a little recap here. All right, so that was the last replay. Here's the plug I was mentioning for the Premiere Reflections 2. That'll be fun. Probably be a lot of Watch Your Step and Agents of Black Sun. Cool thing about Gemp is you don't need to own 5 Emperors to be, or 6 Emperors to play, as some in this some decks around this time did, and you could just play with digital cards and play for free. So that's cool instead of spending $300 for an Emperor Palpatine to play at an event. So signups are still open. 46 players currently signed up. These events have been between like 40 and 55, I think. I think one event had like 58, but we had a couple people drop off towards the beginning. But yeah, really neat turnout. It's cool to see a lot of these old school players coming back, or some of them just, have always played old school formats, and now we have a little more formality to a league, and also lots of open format players are also like myself and Ryan and Brad and Teemo and plenty of others, Batmouse. So yeah, I think it's a good blend. Sign up's still open, still plenty of time. Looks like that's what, over 3 weeks to still sign up. I think a lot of people have heard about the league, but definitely more welcome. Here is the event. So yeah, so this was table 1. This was me versus Teemo, and then Brad played Ryan. Dark Deal 44. Kevin, very good player in these older school formats. He plays exclusively older school formats. Andy Talaga has been playing old school, but he just came to regionals, so that's cool. He's been doing good in the league. We got Fatty down here, Craig. He's doing well. Lyndon is towards the top of the cumulative standings, which I'll touch upon in a minute. Dr. Torch down here, table 7. A lot of these players are probably 3-1. So they had like one stop. Andrew Bethel, he was one of the top 8 players from the retro event last year, Premiere Death Star 2. Kevin Yap, our good, the master printer, we'll say. But yeah, so a good crew. There's Steve, our tournament director. And here are the cumulative standings. Yeah, so see Paul Todd Philman's still doing really well. Andy's up there. He's in second. Basically, what we did was 3 points for a win, 1 for a loss. And then if you won an event, I think you get 4 bonus points. Or if you got second, you get like 2. I think it was what Steve and I aligned on, to reward people for winning, but also reward people for winning events, but also reward people for winning games, and also reward people for being active and playing a game. So if you lost a game, you still get a point. So that's what these. I did not do the first 2 events, so I'm like down here. Yeah, I went 4-2 in the Premiere Death Star 2, which was event 3. Looks like I'm picking up at least 15 more points, so 29. So, but everyone else, a lot of these other players are going to be picking up points too, even if they're losing. So that's the cumulative standings. I think that's basically all I have. This other game wrapped up here. It looks like Prophet lost. Looks like Han was killed early and did not come back. All right, so sticker book token. Oh, almost forgot. Oh gosh, maybe I'll tell people to go to the end. So they don't usually try to do it in the middle. We'll do for the sticker book token. Let's do Recoil and Fear. So Recoil and Fear. Sorry to everyone who kind of tuned in when watching this whole time. Let me type it in the chat. Recoil and Fear. And then actually let me pull up the info in here. Yeah. Sorry, Joker King. I definitely meant to. Sticker book token. Yeah, here's all the info on this. So this is what you do. Recoil and Fear. Recoil is the token. Holotheater at StarWarsCCG.org. The cutoff for that is going to be September 1st. So Dan's going to update for all the submissions that were made over the course of the last 4 months. Figure out what the split is. I'm going to get a certain batch of packs. I think I'm going to be getting from Kevin, I want to say Oh man, it's a lot. Why am I drawing a blank? I think it's gonna be like 350. No, maybe 400 packs. Honestly, I think it might be 400 packs and then another 400 packs for the last 4 months of the year, something like that. There was like 350 in the first, and he said the next two. So yeah, so people that are most active are gonna get the most packs. People that did some submissions, but I think that the four will be at least two. So they're really cool. So all the information's on this forum post. Oh yeah, we got the pictures in here too. So yeah, this is a cool program. This is Kevin's brainchild, which is really cool. I know when people get them, they're very excited and they post pictures and they look really cool. I wish I had a little more submissions, but I'm kind of sort of on the sidelines with submitting. I figure I'd defer and let other people get them. So yeah, so that's about all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this live, or if you watch on replay. Again, sign up still up for the event. Everyone, have a good night, have a good day, whatever it may be. All right, thanks. Bye.